All right, so let me make a few more predictions. By taking away any kind of stable environment that I only had here and there throughout my whole life, I think there's only been one time in my life that I had, compared to the rest of my life, the most stable environment I ever had was when I was at the feed store here in Canoga Park. From 1990, the winter of 1996, you could just basically say starting in 1997 to the month of June in 2002. And the sad part about it is that was about the time that new $20 bill was introduced. And I was able to fold the $20 bill and show people that it depicted skyscrapers on fire at the time. I couldn't interpret the other side of the bill, it just looked like something folded. I didn't think to interpret the other side of the bill until the 9/11 event. What makes all of these predictions, especially the cryptic prediction I made about the Twin Towers in 1993, in that giant letter, I mentioned this in the other tape, to the Clinton White House, was that it was the same length, 13 feet symbolically, to symbolize the 1,300 feet that the Twin Towers was. Rounded off, the Twin Towers are about 1,300 feet tall. And that the letter was 13 feet. And something else is really unusual. Let me back up on the anomaly. When I go on YouTube, it shows the main video right here, okay? And then it shows along the sides of the video, over here, along the sides, along the edges, right here along the video, on the sides, to the side of this screen here, over here, there's all the little tiny videos that you can, related videos that you can click on to surf to go to another video, And it's interesting to note, and this is really going to blow everybody's mind, that I could literally say that YouTube, subconsciously, the people that created YouTube saw that letter. They never saw it physically, but they're through the quantum field, through the quantum communication of the dark field, dark matter, dark field network. They were able to see the original letter because subconsciously, through that DNA entanglement, they saw that letter. On the left-hand side of the letter, over here, is set up just like YouTube. The big letters were represents, ironically, superimposed. I had giant letters that wrote the whole letter. But I only wrote that last letter in giant letters on the left-hand side of the page, taking up about 2 feet. About 2 feet wide on the letter was a huge final letter to the Clinton White House. But on the right-hand side were all small letters, a succession of 13 8.5 by 11 pages, 13 letters representing 13 feet, okay? The height of the World Trade Center. And there was a whole succession of letters, starting with the first attack on the World Trade Center, and all the letters take the same spot as the format of YouTube. All along the right side, all the small letters. And then to the left of it is the succession of big letters telling about how, like I'm copying Nostradamus and I'm giving cryptic predictions for the damages that I've been going through then, which are the same complaints that I've had all along. A violation of civil rights, using the color of law, using vicious cycle laws to hurt my life, to destabilize my life, and all of it was on purpose. Now, in that format, for the sake of just saying it easy, YouTube copied my format of the original letter that I sent the White House. to the Clinton White House. And that was before YouTube, I think, was even ever in existence. So here we are in 2012, and I had sent the White House a format which YouTube is copying off of me. And it's interesting that I've had so much trouble with YouTube, and now I'm not being able to record in other words, all my videos on YouTube right now were recorded directly. None of them were ever uploaded from another. But now what I have here is a system, an editing system, that allows me to record into my computer and then save the recording and upload it into the YouTube format, which has already been denied once already, one of my videos. So I don't know what they're getting out of it by blocking me, because originally I made predictions in that original letter to the Clinton White House. Some of the letters on the right-hand side, like the small pictures of the different YouTube videos, those letters dealt with subject matters like gun control. They dealt with matters, all types of matters, violence on television, so on and so forth. And I kept making demands. I said, you either pay me X amount of millions of dollars, or else you're going to have to deal with something that is going to be even worse in the future. And I kept making those veiled, what I call veiled, I would call them veiled threats. I call them veiled exchanges. Free to make the exchange with me, I'd exchange predictions, more direct predictions, in exchange for being protected from the damages that I was going through then in 1993, 94, 95, 96. Come 2002, I was back on the street with all my cars, trucks, boats, motorhomes, and they were taking things away from me right and left. It took 9 years for the city of Los Angeles to take everything that I'd worked for the last more than 20 years. Everything I'd saved, my plans, my hopes, my dreams. I can't even call them that they were dreams, because everything that I owned was a reality. That's why I decided to call myself Reality Supreme Being, because I owned everything that I needed in order to build this fantastic museum and community, think tank community I was going to build in the mountains of Colorado. I had to get away from all this craziness, because I know this craziness is going to end soon, and nobody wants to help me. And instead of banding together, like the Israelites did when they were with Moses, and following me like the Israelites followed Moses. This isn't a case of, we're not talking about religion. I'm not expecting Jews or Christians to follow me. I want DNA composites of people who really can contribute something really good, something great, who have followed me. But it's too late now. You people have taken everything I worked for, including the young years of my life. And like I mentioned in this book about behavior analysts down here, depending on a person's age, greatly tells you whether the person's going to be able to start over again or not. This is one of those things where I can just start over again. It took me more than 25 years to collect, to buy, to invest, to purchase, to sacrifice years of my life to build towards my goals, which existed. Physical goals, the physical tools with which to build what I was working towards existed. And then it was all taken away from me. Parking enforcement, LAPD, City of Los Angeles, tow yards, Howard Summers, Keystone Motors, Ross Baker, all these people, no matter how nice they are, were all evil. They tried to say, like, well, we're limited to what we can do, and we can't help you in the way you're asking, and they went on and on and on. So it's your loss. And that's why I'm not making direct predictions. because you don't deserve it. You deserve all the shootings, all the 58 mass shootings that you've had in the country for years and years, more than a decade, because you've done decades worth of damage to me. And the saddest part, you murdered my young years of my life, all the sacrificing I did to try to get to that point, and worse yet, you murdered future generations' ability to better themselves, because the false way that you're watching people better themselves, even the Olympic people, who supposedly the U.S. has won more gold medals than any other of the countries. If I were the USA right now, I would be very, very careful about how those people are going to transport back to the United States, how you're going to handle all of this, because you're setting yourselves up for the biggest fall of all. You may have won all the Olympics, but you haven't won the war against terrorism, because in the first place, you started off on the wrong foot by calling it terrorism. It isn't terrorism. I've never been terrified by anything that they've done. And that's where you made your first biggest mistake. As soon as the terrorism was done, when you people went into Iraq, you then, people that were fighting you, then you changed it and called them insurgents. I just laughed when I heard that. It's just, look at that. It's like, it's as if there are people like me who can't see through that scam game that they're using with names, just changing names at a whim so that it looks different to people. So I think probably at 12 minutes here, I'm going to just, cut this thing short, and we'll just go see if we can upload.
How you doing, bro?
Huh?
How you doing?
I don't know yet. I can't get my computer to stop.